Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am showing you guys how you can find a lost object using your psychic abilities. So some of you might have seen my video where I lost my cat and I used my abilities to try and find him. This is a little bit different because this is an actual exercise. That video I was sort of talking about, the prayers you could do, the visualizations you can do, how to work with your guides to ask for help. But this technique is great for finding lost objects, but it's also good for finding pets too. And this could be anything. This could be pets, it could be people, it could be even something that you don't have yet that you want. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. This might also work for that. Also, you don't have to have lost something to do this exercise. You can ask somebody in your household to find an object and go hide it for you. Just make sure you obviously don't cheat. Have them hide it, and then you can sort of tune into the object and use this exercise to find it. All you need is a piece of paper, a pen or pencil, and your psychic ability. What you want to do is write down each clair and sort of a spot for you to answer underneath it, so leave some space. Then what you want to do is go ahead and get centered. Get into a space where you're receiving, you're in a meditative zone, you're not judging or using your left brain, you're not analyzing anything, you're just getting into that space where things come to you. The psychic ability is about information coming to you. It's not about searching or trying to find it. It's about flow. It's about receptivity. All of those sort of energies are super important in order to receive. When you're in the state of receiving, you're working with your psychic ability. Versus if you're trying to analyze or use your left brain, or trying to search or try really hard to get the information, you're actually working against your psychic ability. So you need to really be in that receptive flow state for things to come to you. This shouldn't be hard or difficult. It should kind of just pop into your head. So once you're in this state, you're going to connect with that object. What have you lost? For this exercise, I'm actually going to use something that I did lose. I have 2 sets of car keys. And I have one, but I lost the other, and we haven't been able to find that other one in a while. So I'm going to use those car keys as an example. So what I want to do is, after I'm in that sort of meditative state, maybe you listen to some music, really just make sure that you're present and with yourself, and you don't have a whole lot of thoughts going on, and you're not in a crazy monkey mind state. And then you can visualize that pair of keys or that animal, whatever it is, and you really just want to visualize it in your mind's eye. And what you want to do is ask the object, ask the person, whatever it is, where are you? Now you can write down any general impressions that you get. I think it's always good to just kind of open it up to whatever you get first, because then you can get that out of the way and feel like, okay, of my first impressions of where I've thought it might be are kind of out of the way. Also know that because it's lost, you probably already have been thinking and using your analytical mind of, where did I leave it? Well, it's the keys. I put the keys here, I put the keys there, and I also keep them over here. But we want to really get out of that logical mind. I'm specifically remembering one time that my husband lost his keys, and it was in a super weird place. And it was something where it fell into something else, and it didn't make any sense of how it would have gotten there. And so when you're using your analytical mind, you might only be thinking about the logical places, but what if it's not in a logical place? So after you've kind of done a general guess and wrote down some of those answers, what you want to do is now focus on your clairs. This exercise is also a great way to hone your clairs, and it's actually something that I was taught in order to strengthen those clairs individually. And so what you want to do is start with clairvoyance. And so when you ask the set of keys, where are you? You want to see where they are. And so maybe you see it from their perspective, maybe you see it from, maybe you're looking at the keys themselves, but whatever you do, you want to ask for a visual. And it's important that you specify that you want to see it so that you're honing that clairvoyance. So if you start to hear something or feel something, you say, nope, nope, nope. I want to see it, guides. I want to see it. I want to hear it. I want to feel it. And so you kind of get the gist of what I'm going for with each of these clairs. So then once you've written down a few things with clairvoyance, wipe your slate clean. It's really important to wipe your slate clean when you're finding a lost object, because if you're going off of what you previously got, you're again jumping in that analytical mind. So say you wrote down under clairvoyance, oh, I feel like I'm in a sticky place and I feel like I'm outdoors. And so maybe your analytical brain is like, oh, maybe it's the car or something like that. Or maybe it's by that tree that has a lot of sap or something, I don't know. But then if you jump to clairaudience and you still have that outside or that car kind of in the back of your mind, and what if it's not there? You know, you're using that bias and you have that judgment of, oh, well, it has to be outside because that's what I've already gotten. No, you want to always assume that maybe you could be wrong, so it's always good to wipe that slate clean and try again with a different clair. So for clairaudience, you want to hear where that set of keys is, hear where that animal is. You know, maybe you hear birds, or maybe you hear a TV, maybe you hear a certain person. Just write down what you get. Do not analyze yet. The worst thing that you guys can do is jump into analyzing with your left brain. Always stick in that intuitive right brain. Your answers will be here. You can come back to them and analyze the crap out of them when you're done. Clairsentience, you want to feel where that animal, that set of keys are. So does it feel cold? Does it feel rough? Does it feel sticky? Maybe you can also feel emotions too with this. Maybe there's like sadness, or maybe there's happiness around that. And you know, maybe that information alone might not be super helpful, but combined with the other clairs, it might be. So again, just go with what you get. For clairalience and clairgustance, it's psychic smelling and psychic tasting. So I think this is a great exercise for those clairs, because you could taste or smell other things in the area. And so maybe if you're picking up a lot of like kitchen smells, maybe it's in the kitchen. Maybe you're tasting it and you taste a bunch of herbs, or maybe you taste like dirt or something like that, and maybe that's outside. Jumping to claircognizance, claircognizance is just that fast knowing. It comes to you, it's a download. You don't really know if you see it, you heard it, you smelt it, you know, any of it. It's just about it being fast. And so you might have already done that at the beginning a little bit. I feel like people tend to go to claircognizance first when they use their psychic ability. But I found that sometimes once you start to hone those clairs individually, claircognizance sometimes gets harder, because you're so used to trying to hone each clair and see it or hear it, and then to just get it so quickly, sometimes we second guess ourselves. So really try to force yourself to go with what you get, and not second guess yourself, so you can hone that clair. So when I did this, I sort of jumped around a little bit, and just kind of, you know, either went with the clair that I got, or I looked at the clair and sort of said, okay, here, this is what I'm looking for. I'll have to let you guys know where I found them in the comments below, if and when I do, so we could sort of see what any of this felt like. But even with this, it's hard to get that bias out of the way, because I started to read, feel like it was in the car and maybe under a seat somewhere or in a pocket, and it was hard for me to shake that. So you really have to, it's hard to shake that bias and that previous idea of where it could be. So just remember to do that. Just know that there's really no right or wrong answer with some of these. Like for example, for clairsentience, I just had this feeling along my back. Like I just felt like my back, just an awareness of my back. And so I have no idea what that means. Like maybe it's in a piece of clothing on the back of something. I have no idea. But you know, that's just like an interesting way that I've received that clair. So it doesn't, if you're not getting like heat or cold or an emotion or something like that, it doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. Just go with what you get. So once you're done, then you can use your analytical mind, look at a lot of this, see if any of it makes sense, try to find it in a new spot. If it doesn't work, try again. And know that this is also just a great exercise for honing those clairs. So even if you're not trying to necessarily find something, you can ask your partner or somebody living with you, hey, where did you hide it? And you can compare notes and see what was right and what was wrong. And you'll be surprised at how sometimes you'll get a lot of things pretty close, And remember, out of all the millions of places that it could be, you have to celebrate the things that you get right and those little successes. Because if you're constantly focusing on, oh, I didn't get it right, I sucked at this, you know, you're telling yourself that your ability is not good and that you're not good and you can't trust it. And we want to be telling ourselves the opposite. So really, with any of the exercises that I teach you guys, try not to judge yourself or rate yourself like you're giving yourself a report card. Again, it's so important, you guys, that this is more about practice versus accuracy. But just know that with practice, accuracy will come. So if you enjoyed this exercise, I have so much more on my YouTube playlist, as well as my psychic course. I teach a basic psychic skills course, and in that I have a ton of exercises that I teach you and how you can sort of pick and choose your favorites so you can hone those clairs, kind of separate them out, and really strengthen each of them individually or all of them as a whole. So I hope you guys find whatever you lost. Let me know in the comments below if you were successful or not. I'm always curious to hear your stories. I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching, and happy searching.